With that, I recognize for many of you, this may be the first time that you're interacting with our office in this new sense. And so I'm really pleased to introduce myself. I am Bryant Fairley. I am the new director for the Center for Community Engagement. I've been on campus for just about, it'll be 2 years in September. And we have our new professionals that have joined the team as well. We have Marissa Setawayan. She is our assistant director, and she has primary responsibility for helping to support engaged learning opportunities. And so that is academic internships as well as service learning. We have Jocelyn Yap. She's another new member of our team. She is our budget analyst, really helping to make sure that our faculty stipends and grants and community partner support are all happening as according to plan. We have Queenie Du. She is our cooperative education coordinator, really helping students to get the professional experience in the field that is paid and supports their academic learning. And then we have a new role as well. We have Lydia Chen Shaw. She serves as our faculty associate. She is our faculty member who really helps to champion community engaged work and service learning pedagogy across campus, and really works to help support us in this way. And so with no further ado, we're just going to go ahead and start with the presentation.
Okay, Brian, this one's yours.
Perfect. I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to go or not. And then so the exciting part about it, again, is we took a lot of time in order to best identify how we can support the Chancellor's Office memorandum on COVID-19, again, to support and ensure student safety, as well as high quality educational experiences for our students. And so the good news for us is that as campuses throughout California are welcoming themselves back to in-person opportunities, we've been very thoughtful, we've been deliberate, and we've made these changes with the systemic approach on how we can best support our students and ensure student safety.
And so these guidelines can be found on our website. So if you, they're live now, if you just go onto our website under faculty, do service learning, and these guidelines will show here. And hopefully this does take me, if someone can tell me if it did not follow me. And so you'll find the guidelines here. It is a guideline not just from our office, it is from the Chancellor's Office, working with our own institution, our administrators, as well as the LA County for the safety team and LA County Public Health. So it's a really collaborative effort of what makes this guidance or how it came to be. But it is a long form, so we do recommend everyone to take a few minutes to read these on your own time. But in particular, we really wanted to emphasize there is a section specifically for the recommendations for faculty. For the in-person placements, there's a section of what is actually required for students. Of course, we'll provide other visuals to help, but this is all the information where you'll find. There's also a section, I believe I may have passed it, also recommendation of what you can add to your syllabus. I believe it's right here. So your core syllabus recommended language, that's something that you, of course, can change and personalize based on your course, but that is something that we're also recommending to be added for the in-person placements sites, if you'll be having that for this upcoming summer and fall. And so let me, will it take me back? Did I go back? Everyone still see my screen? Okay, perfect. And so I will go large again. And so for many of you, we asked when we did the registration is how familiar you are with BroncoServe. So for many of you, you've been using BroncoServe, and we thank you. For some of our new faculty who may not be as familiar with BroncoServe, this is our campus online placement tracking or database that was created by the Chancellor's Office to assist with managing across the CSU our student academic learning experiences. And so across the CSU, this is called Cal State S4. And so Cal State S4 really embodies the 4 S's, which is promoting student success, providing staff support, and then site safety, which is our risk management forms, making sure we have a secure location for these forms, that we're all in compliance, specifically for auditing purposes. We used to be able before something like this, it was on a paper in a filing cabinet that one person had access to. And when auditing came, of course, maybe that one person wasn't available. We couldn't find the forms. So this was a way for the CSU to really be more mindful, to be able to create more security of that. Not only does the faculty have access to these forms, our office would have access in case for auditing purposes, or even the S4 support team at the chancellor's office would able to help in case we needed a specific form for auditing, things like that. And of course, there's smart statistics. So like anything, being able to report and give real-time data is one of the things that BroncoServe is really helping to assist us with. How and what are we doing to assist on the HIPs, which are high impact practices, the reporting needs from the chancellor's office or President Cooley. Especially, we've also gone into some opportunities for grants. So if there's anything specific that's needed, how well are we working with this demographics, or what is our focus areas, we can go in and retrieve that information the more and more people are using BroncoServe. So that gives us more of a snapshot. Are we meeting our goals and targets as an institution, as a college? Are we being able to see how well we're making meeting those goals? And then what areas do we need to work with? If there's specifically for our office, we're here to help you, but if we can see, okay, is there a particular area that needs more of our assistance, then how can we do that? And we'll be able to identify that. So that's why we encourage a lot of our internship courses and service learning to be using BroncoServe. And then what areas are we impacting? So not only is it important to know who our students are and who's actually participating, but what areas in our community are we impacting? Again, that goes back to our grant opportunities, our reporting. Those are very important information that we need to know. And then who are our co-educators? Are we highlighting our campus partners enough? We do understand that for service learning, we have these partnerships, but we want to make sure that it is a two-way partnership, that not only is it beneficial for CPP to have our students there, but that it's also beneficial for our counterparts, our community partners. For many of our communities partners, their supervisors are our own CPP alumni. And so at the end of the year, we want to make sure we're reaching out to these partners and cultivating these partnerships for the next year to really make sure, like, how did it work out? Is there anything that you need? And if we don't know who they are, then there's no way for us to be able to kind of connect and reach out. So this is another highlight of being able to house everything in one database. And then last but not least, we want to be able to really give the whole story of a student, to give them be able to share their successes, their accomplishments. A lot of our students, they're doing amazing work, but not a lot of people know about it. And so we want to make sure that not only are we giving them the kudos that they need, but that we're also really showcasing what's possible to our incoming students or our current students. We want to be able to share their stories a little bit more successfully, and we do that through evaluations. If they're using the time log on BroncoServe, there is a self-reflection section of that time log. And so we're getting that information from there, and then be able to then reach out to the student and ask them for more information, or can we cover you? Can we highlight you? So being really able to tell the full story is something that we're really working towards. And so especially if you see the students more than we do. So if you ever see a student that you would like us to highlight or be able to share their successes, please reach out to us and send us an email. We would love to cover them and be able to share their story. That's something that we really, again, would love to continue to work on. And so we do realize it's a lot of information and it's constantly changing, especially now during COVID. So we have really worked hard as a team to really provide more service learning resources, more up-to-date guides, such as our handbook guide. We're kind of compiled a breakdown of the standards, recommendation, processes to really assist faculty, staff, and campus partners in really knowing the process of service learning. And we've also have created some visuals. So I'm going to go ahead and try again to go onto our website here. And let me know, did it follow me? Yes, okay. And so again, we're on the faculty page under service learning. And if you scroll down, this is where you'll find the guideline. And here's the handbook. and just a quick resource of a workflow. But most importantly for today's presentation, the visual, we really want to make sure we're showcasing, did it follow? Is the checklist for in-person placement. So we are asking a lot of the students for the in-person placements. There is 5 COVID training materials that the students will need to complete in order to start their in-person placements. And so we've provided a one sheet to kind of really put everything together. The links here are all active, what students need to be able to submit. Things need to be uploaded into Bronco Serve. And then of course, our regular risk management forms in Bronco Serve are these here. And then just a reminder that if it is a new placement site with CPP, that additional paperwork is needed, but there is a recommended time frame to complete this paperwork, because it does take time to make sure that everything is, all our I's are dotted and T's are crossed. So we make sure we're all in compliance. So we do recommend 4 to 6 weeks prior to the start of the internship, or at least no later than 2 weeks into the term for new CPP partnership forms to be submitted for that term. And then of course, just as a reminder, students won't have access to Bronco Serve until the start of their, well, here's internship, but there's a service learning one. So for any of the courses, whether it's internship or service learning, students will not have access to Bronco Serve to complete these forms here on the risk management side until the start of the semester. These COVID training materials, once they find out that they are able to, they will be doing in-person placements, then they are able to access these sooner than the start. So they could start get started on doing some of the paperwork. They just can't do the uploads or anything like that until closer to the start of the term for the student. And then let's see, did it follow me back? Okay, perfect. And so we, as I said, we have our website updated. We have an FAQ section. We are in progress of doing some type of a how-to guide video that was kind of in the works to really give a visual for students and for faculty to see the actual process, the steps that are needed. But just currently, just as of this week, our database, our S4 team actually has updated the system to kind of create something that'll assist students and faculty better than just a visual. So I'll go ahead and share that in the next slide. And so we're really excited about that. We hope to, if it needed, we will still do a video, but if we'll test run first what the S4 team has provided us. And then if not, then we'll move on to a visual if needed. You guys can, the faculty, the students, everyone can give us feedback if you think that's needed. Definitely, we're here to provide these resources and see what would work best for everyone. Oh, I'm so sorry. And so here's going to be a quick overview of the actual Bronco Serve database. I'll be first going in as a student view so that you see what students are able to see. And so I'm going to stop share and switch screens. And then hopefully everyone can now see the Bronco Serve database. And so right now I'm in the test environment. This is a test course for service learning. So this is what we would see on our back end, but the student, in this particular case, the faculty has some pre-selected program sites for their service learning placements. And that would be just for the students to be able to just see those 4 placement sites. So I am going to pretend I'm Polly. And this is what a student sees when they first go into the system. They'll say hello, is their name, and then they will go to their course for that spring semester, and they would hit continue. And so that, and then they have a placement progress to let them know this student selected the pre-selected site of Bonita Unified School District for 40 hours. And then here's the forms that are required for the student. And so in particular for the in-person placement or the specific COVID language that we inputted into this system is the question, is your service learning experience in person or hybrid? Hybrid meaning they could be doing a mix of two, of being in person some days, and then the rest will be maybe remote or just virtual between the two. So that's what we mean by hybrid version. If they select no, their service learning experience will be all virtual. There's nothing more that is needed from the student because they'll continue as virtual. There's no additional paperwork needed. However, if the student indicated yes, there is logic for a drop down of information. So because this is a form, we can't have active links. But what we are recommending to students is they open a new tab on a web browser to copy the link and complete the training. And again, we give the reminder on form 2, they need to upload that certification that they completed. And then on 5 is that student acknowledgement form that also needs to be uploaded. And then another specific thing that is needed for in-person placement is from the placement site. So we do ask that if a student is finding their own placement site, that they also contact their placement site to ask for their specific COVID-19 protocol and workplace safety guidelines. There's not an actual form. If the placement site sends them an email or it's just a letter that they put into a PDF of what their protocols would look like or in their workplace safety guidelines look like, they can just upload that. For the professors that have already pre-selected their placement sites, because you have a relationship with these sites, we do recommend that to make it easier so that they're not sending, all the emails to all the students for the same placement. You can actually ask for that ahead of time and then upload it into your course through Bronco Serve, and it'll be more of like an umbrella for the course versus having the students copy and paste, or you send them a PDF. So that should hopefully alleviate a lot more of the uploads. And then of course, the students would still need to do their uploads for the COVID training and sign it. And so let me go ahead and also show you the new feature, which is this view the placement guided tour. And it kind of will tell the student what they need to do and what each thing means. So they'll just have to read the information, hit next. It tells them, oh, you need to place. So this is like a great new feature. It really breaks it down. There should be no reason, hopefully, that the students are not sure what the next step is to do. They'll have all that information on the click of a button. And then let me switch to faculty test and show you where you can upload your site placements COVID protocols. So here is my test site. I'm masquerading as Frank faculty. So this is what you see on your page when you log in, and you would just go to manage your course. But you see here, you also have that guided tour that'll assist you if you're not sure. And then it'll list all of your semesters. Right now, we only have active as our spring as our test. So I'm going to view my course. If you're interested in pre-selecting your placement sites, like how they have here, you would just go here to select delete program sites. If you're updating your list or you want to add more, you could do that through here. Click here to limit so that all the students only see these. And then at the bottom of your page, you'll see you have a section for choose file to upload. Just keep in mind the upload requirements is 100 MB, and the file types allowed are just the text, doc, docx, PDF, or RTF. So we have those files for you to upload, and then it'll be only connected to this course for this semester. So we'll have that already available to you, and so that your students don't have to worry about uploading on their end. They just do one upload for their specific COVID training. And then for faculty who are new to Bronco Serve, this would be your class roster. You'll be able to see when they last logged in, have they completed their forms, who's missing, and then where have they placed at. And then if you go to specifically to student forms tab, that's where you're able to see that learning plan. What did they actually put in that learning plan? Who do they have as emergency contact? If there's something that happens at the site and you need to get a hold of the emergency contact, you now have access through your phone to be able to go and view who's emergency contact. I need to get a hold of someone. And you have all the other forms here as well. The student report tab is really just to assist you also as an overview for the students. So for this example, Art Henry estimated 20 hours, but he's only reported 1 hour so far. You're getting close to the end of this semester. So now you can send Art an email and say, hey, looks like you're missing your time logs. Is something going on? Or, here's the deadline to submit prior to the end of the semester, or a reminder. You can do that all through BroncoServe as well. And so then that ends our overview of what the BroncoServe looks like. And then let me go ahead and stop share and go back to our presentation. Oh, does it not show? Let me refresh that page. Okay, let's see. Is everyone able to see my screen? Hopefully. Okay, perfect. I'll go back. So the next steps really for after this presentation is really working with your students, especially now as the announcement has been made that in-placement is available now. It's a go for summer and for fall. We do have some students reaching out wanting to know more information. So this is a time to, if you have already students registered in your courses, that you do provide that information or send them to our website. Like I mentioned, we will be sending that checklist to you via email after the presentation. So that should hopefully be assisting you to provide that information to students. If there's anything more specific, please feel free to send them our way. We're happy to help assist them and guide them through the process. Also, please discuss a time frame to submit paperwork. There is, as I mentioned, quite a few forms that need to be submitted, especially specifically for in-person. You have those 5 forms for COVID specific, and then we have our 4 required for BroncoServe. The first 5 can be completed, as soon as they know that they'll be in person. The 4 remaining are the risk management forms. Those will be at the start of the term. And then as a recommendation, we do have that syllabus insert that we're recommending as a COVID language. And then to also mention BroncoServe on your syllabus and discuss it at the beginning of the term. A lot of times students are really surprised and they're not sure what to do. So they need a little bit more help. So the sooner we can try to get them on track, the better to have them get started on their actual experience. For faculty, especially if you're new to BroncoServe, familiarize yourself with BroncoServe. It is a very user-friendly, especially for faculty. There's only a few screens that you actually are able to view. And then, as I said, we have those handbooks to help be able to guide you. The S4 team has provided more of like a screenshot how-to guides that's linked on the handbook to assist you. And of course, you can always reach out if there's any specific questions or you're not sure. Definitely reach out to us. And then of course, any feedback once you're in the system. We don't have a lot of power of how things work because there's multiple CSUs on the same database. And so although we can't make it very specific to our needs, but if it's something that comes up and that it's something that we feel that would be better to help the rest of the CSU. We do meet monthly as a CSU team to go over any new updates, any recommendations. So we can definitely take that up to the S4 team. And then if that's something that the other campuses have the same issue or problem, then they're happy to help us, because as I mentioned earlier, this Bronco Serve or Cal State S4 is made by the CSU for the CSU. So it's here to help us. And so if there's a way for us to do that, we can definitely hear your feedback and try to see what we can make happen. And so that really ends our presentation of all the information for in-person placements for the summer and fall. We can now open it up to any of your questions. I know we had a few things coming in through the chat, so I'm not sure if we want to start there, Brian. I'm not sure if you were taking a look at the chat or not, but we're good to open it up now, or unmute also.
Yes, please feel free to unmute yourselves. We're going to work through the questions in the chat. But again, thank you all for your participation today. So for full disclosure, we did remove a few things from our presentation today under the assumption that many of the folks who were engaged in service learning have already connected on Bronco Serve and already are somewhat familiar with Bronco Serve. And so we really just wanted to highlight some of the key changes within Bronco Serve, some of the new tools that will help you to connect with your course and help you manage students' experience as they connect with partners. And so, so please understand that if you have more questions in regards to Bronco Serve and how it works, we would love to set something up with you independently to give you more of an overview of how Bronco Serve can work and help meet your needs. But for those folks who are already strong users of Bronco Serve, I want to go ahead and start answering the questions that have come through the chat. Some of the key questions are, in regards to time frame, as far as when are students able to access Bronco Serve for their courses? And the best answer we can give to that is Bronco Serve is connected to PeopleSoft. And so what typically happens is at the end of the term, PeopleSoft will connect with Bronco Serve and then load those courses for the next session, for the next term. It does get a little bit tricky at some of the timeframes we have for the campus. And so in particular, summer, the second session of summer is a little bit trickier, as well as winter session is a little bit trickier. The timeframes in which PeopleSoft converts and rolls over in order to be uploaded into a Bronco Serve is shorter. And so faculty and students who are teaching in the second session of summer, as well as in winter session, may experience the loading of the course roster into Bronco Serve may happen 1 to 3 days sort of within the first part of that new session. And so meaning that your first day of courses, students may or may not have access until 72 hours following the first day. And so typically it tends to happen quick, so that it happens either the day before or the day of the start of the session. And so please be mindful of that. Unfortunately, that is out of our control. That is something that's between the S4 system at the Chancellor's Office, as well as Cal Poly's own PeopleSoft capabilities. And then, oh, go ahead, Marissa.
I was just going to add also, we do need to also, the student has to be enrolled in the course. So there is sometimes when students are making up for whatever reason, or they're not actively enrolled yet, they will not have access to their Bronco Serve. They won't see, because PeopleSoft needs to connect something for that specific term to Bronco Serve. And so if a student is registering late, then it would be at least 24, 48 hours that PeopleSoft updates, and then it updates on Bronco Serve that overnight, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Marissa. The second question we have is, how long should it take for students to complete all required forms or fields? And this will help to set expectations. And so I think for us, quite honestly, this is one of the big challenges we have is, in all fairness, again, we are a new team, and as we are a new team, it gives us a fresh approach to look at what the process was. And so what we're hoping to do is clearly communicate what the process ought to be and provide you with how you can set the expectations for your students. And so in completing the required forms, it should take between 10 and 30 minutes for the students to complete. We're really asking for them to complete their emergency contact information, for them to sign the liability waiver with included COVID language, and then the learning plan. And so the learning plan can take longer now that we have sort of the other components of ensuring student safety for COVID. But the key ingredients in the learning plan are really things that and items that should be and can be copied from your syllabus. And so if on your syllabus you have what the students, why the students are going to this site, what they hope to, the learning outcomes from the site and how it's connected to your course, then that makes the process faster for students. And so again, it should take between 10 and 30 minutes for the students to complete. These are things they can do on the first day when they are have access to BroncoServe. And that's sort of what our expectation is that should happen quickly and should be readily available for them to finish in time. Some other components, again, if this is a service learning partner or campus partner that you've had for a while, then your relationship with the partner will help speed the process up by already having their COVID site emergency plans uploaded into the system. Then the students wouldn't need to go out and try to secure that on their end and have that uploaded to the system as well. So it ought to happen faster for service learning as opposed to students doing that last part for internships. Any questions about that?
We do have a raised hand.
Yes. Hi, Brand. Thank you. Hi, Marissa. Thank you. So my question is, I've been working with Brian for a long time on this, but one of the issues that we are facing right now is the students, they need to set up their internships well in advance before they start the semester. In my program, there's a mandatory internship that the students have to do. So when they enroll in classes, they have to go and find internships by themselves. So I provide a letter from the department as a chair for them to be giving information about how many hours for the 2 credits or whatnot that they need to be with the internship and so on and so forth. But then the next question the companies ask is, okay, can you please give me your forms, or they offer their contracts, which we usually do not agree on. We agree on only Cal Poly forms. So I used to give the PDF forms, the whatever now which is online that the company has to sign to place the internship on BroncoServe. Is that okay if I just provide that, because the students even do not have the capability of seeing them on the BroncoServe until or after the semester starts? So I think to solve this problem is to work with IT and get the list well in advance to BroncoServe. But until then, I'm not putting pressure. I know you guys are new team and you have, I'm sure, a zillion things to do with all the COVID now. But is it okay if I share that PDF files with the companies, and then they will have to fill that, but they will also have to fill it afterwards when they actually do it online?
No, thank you for your question, and great to see you join us in this conversation. It is a pleasure working with your students and working with you in this regard. And so for us, as it relates to internships, what we've done is really try to clarify the process. I think one of the big challenges we had as it relates to internships is that students were completing both sets of forms at the same time. And so what we're hoping to do is be more clear in the sense that students doing internships, or if a service learning faculty member is working to secure a new partner, that process can happen well in advance before the start of the term. And so we're suggesting and advising that students can do that process 4 to 6 weeks prior to the start of the term. We have the forms that our partners can seek without having to have access into BroncoServe. And so for campus partners, industry partners, community partners, the web linked form takes them right to BroncoServe. And so they will be able to work right within the system. And then what we're doing is just providing some more detail. We've changed the form just a bit, so it's not ready just yet, but it will be shortly, to include questions like, when is this session, when is your opportunity taking place? Is this a fall, spring, or summer opportunity? So that way we know how to prioritize. We are including some questions in regards to equity to ensure that students can feel comfortable and that they are welcoming all types of students. We are including information, of course, about COVID so that our partners know how to best keep our students safe during COVID times. And we expect to have all that up shortly. And so that process happens independently of the students. Again, we want them to do it. So if they're going out and securing a new opportunity or a new site, they can start doing that now. And then when the session starts, then they can fill out the individual student forms. I'm hoping that's clear. So the partnership forms are separate than the student forms.
Mhm.
So Brian, when you say shortly, I know you're pressed with, all that, but realistically, when do you think, because the students are chasing me right now for summer, I have 32 students in the class right now. Everybody's sending me emails asking, what should I do? What should I do? Can you please tell me? I said, please be quiet, wait until I tell you what to do. So realistically, when do you think that whatever you're talking about right now, that the company can go ahead and sign, fill in the form? Realistically, when do you think this will be available? I can tell the students whatever.
No, that is a great question, and I wish I could give you a firm date. I can just say that it should happen within the next 2 weeks. The challenge we have is that the campus, not even the campus, the system, it's a system-wide approach. And so what they're doing is trying to adjust the form to support all of the campuses that use BroncoServe. And so unfortunately, it's out of our hands. The good news is they're doing some really good modifications to make it more user-friendly. But as far as when we're going to have access to it, to be able to have it uploaded to our site, the best time frame I can give you is essentially within 2 weeks. But I expect it to happen faster.
Yes.
I think once we have it available, we can send an email
Announcement.
to everybody so that you guys are aware that it's on the website and it's available.
That's a good idea. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me see here. I'm going back to the questions. Thank you, Lydia, for sharing the additional resources. And again, please note that what we're going to do is we're going to, after this meeting, after this workshop, we will email the slides and recording of the presentation and have the included links and the additional sort of workflow guides and sheets to be able to share with your students. On our information, you will find a few paragraphs that you can copy and include in your syllabus that really kind of walk students through the opportunity to have a in-person placement. And
Brian, where can I find those paragraphs? I'm on the community engaged learning, service learning. At the bottom, I see the checklist, view the flow chart and view handbook. Is it in the handbook?
No, if you go to the COVID-19 policy, it's a hyperlink on the website. Yeah. I can show it on the screen if it's easier.
Thank you, Marissa.
Yeah.
If you can, that will be wonderful.
Yeah, not a problem. So hopefully it followed me to the website, and under service learning, or even for, well, it'll be both on service learning and internships as well. It's in both, but here is the COVID policy guidelines.
Yes.
And then it does take, because it's a long form. It took me a minute to find it when I was saying it earlier, but if you scroll down, let me see.
Right there. Yeah.
So right at the end of page 3, there's that core syllabus recommended language, and then you could just copy, and I can actually put it on the chat if that's easier too.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. And then of course, as we mentioned, you can modify this to best fit your to fit your course. But it's just a recommended language that we're hoping will assist faculty in how to word it.
And there's more on there too, Marissa.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did it not go the whole thing?
Yeah, that's just the first paragraph.
Oh, was it? Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay, but they see where it's at.
As well to the email that we're sending out with the rest of the checklist and the resources.
Yeah, so it goes all the way to basic guidance, the virtual and distance. Yeah, all of that.
Okay, basic guidance, virtual distance. Okay.
So if we modify this statement, I put this in chat, but since you're talking about it right now, if we modify this statement and we need a second pair of eyes to make sure, we've got our I's dotted and T's crossed. Could we send it into CCE staff for review?
Yes, I will probably be looking at for your assistance with that, of course, Lydia. But absolutely, I think that's sort of the most important thing, is that this is a generalized statement. What is in the chat is a generalized statement. So we do want it to be personalized for your students and based on your connection with your students. We just want to give faculty a framework and where to begin.
I'm happy to help with that. But yeah, I just wanted to pose that question because I'm known for making some adjustments to the boilerplate language. Thank you.
No problem. And again, we applaud what you all have been able to do and continue to do during this time. I think that's sort of been the best part about our faculty and really getting to know you all and how you have supported students during these very difficult time frame. And again, I know for many of you all, we are very excited and we hope that more students will select the option. But of course, we want to make sure that we provide options for students as well as continue to ensure that they will be safe at their site. I'm going to go back to the chat and see if there are any questions that I am missing. I see John's question here. Is there any funding that we can use to hire a graduate assistant, paperwork requirements? That is a great question. And so yes, we will be able to provide our service learning mini grant funds as well as some additional funding to be able to support faculty and the reintroduction or the opportunity to again have in-person placements. The sort of the beauty of it and the challenge, of course, is that due to limitations and restrictions that the campus had last year and last academic year and the first part of this year, we do have more funds to share. And so please expect information soon. We'll be able to send that out to folks. We've been working really hard to try to get all of our processes correct, that we really haven't had time to advertise that there will be funding available. And so now that this part is done, we will be able to advertise the availability of funding in order to support students and partners in this work. And so yes, please look for that information coming soon, John. And then again, I believe I've addressed all the questions in the chat. Please feel free to ask your question directly. And again, if you are not as familiar with BroncoServe, we are more than able to set something up on the side to kind of walk you through the system and how it can best support faculty in community engaged learning. Mm-hmm. See, there's a new question. Oh, thank you, John.
Brian, can I ask another question?
Of course.
I know that you showed there's flow charts, there's a lot of information for students to follow. Where can I direct the students to? I'm sorry, I also joined 5 minutes late because I had another, all faculty meeting, end of the year meeting from 9 to 10. So I apologize for that. I know when I came in, Marissa was showing the flow charts and all that. Where can I direct the students to start? Okay, if you are taking summer internship, please go to this place. This is where you should start. You either, because I know the BroncoServe is not available until, very close to the start of the semester, right? So they can't go there and see that what Marissa just showed us inside the BroncoServe, inside the classroom. I think, if I'm not sure whether I'm correct, but inside, when you go to the class, then you see that, do this, I think. But before that, that is you have to go into the class, right? Right now, they cannot because they are not listed. The class is not listed on the BroncoServe. Right now, where can I direct them to, in addition to mentioning everything on the syllabus? Is there, I think that the confusion with the students is like, what should I do? And as faculty, I'm also confused. What should I do? So if you tell me like a path to move forward, if there is any, then that will be great. If there's not a path, or if you guide me to create a path, then for all of us who are joining this meeting, I think that will be really helpful.
Yes.
No, that is a great question and a very great comment. One of the things that we worked really hard to do was to identify separate paths. And so we have a path for service learning, we have a path for internships, and we will have a path for partners as well. So that way everybody knows sort of what to do and what steps to take along the way. And thank you, Marissa. Marissa has already queued up sort of how that path links for academic internships.
Yeah. So on our website, like I mentioned earlier, we've worked hard on really updating a lot of our processes, our guides to really assist everyone from students, faculty to campus partners. Specifically for students, where to send them. If for your example, academic internships, so just click, we have a site dedicated just for them, how to explore your academic internships, frequently asked questions. And then we also have a handbook that really goes in through a big process of what to expect, what are the recommendations, expectations. So it really goes through a lot of details. But if they're looking for something that's not necessarily as detailed, they just need a quick overview of what exactly do I need to do, we have created a workflow for them to see on our website as well. Here is their starting, what they need to do if they're looking for an academic internship, if they're not, who to go to. So that's our career center. And then it kind of just breaks it down for them, all the steps that they'll need to do. So this should help facilitate a lot of those questions that you get of exactly what I need to do or what step am I at or what's the expectations.
And they also, Marissa, they can click on those hyperlink. It does take them to the site.
Correct. Yes. So if additional paperwork is needed from the placement site, it would direct them. Oh, I'm not sure. Will it?
Yeah, it should.
Did it follow me?
Yeah.
It'll take them to the community partner website, and that's that they could get information on the community partner. Right now, we don't have the open links for those required forms. Until we have those updated, we'll put them back on the website. But for right now, it would lead them to the actual form if they were up and available. And then, of course, the last one is the one we shared earlier, was specific to the in-person placement checklist for summer and fall. There should be another way that will also attach to the email that we're sending everyone at the end of this presentation of everything that is expected of them to be in person. And these also, as Jocelyn mentioned, are active links. So it takes them directly to where they need to go. So there's there's no confusion of what needs to be done or how or where to go. So we hope that this helps assist faculty in being clear on what is needed. And then it also helps students really understand one place that they can go to, because it does get confusing. We understand that. And a lot of the times it's new. So obviously we're not all sure exactly, but we hope to be able to give a little bit guidance on that. So hopefully that helps with your question. If there's, again, anything more that you think that is unclear, I know for our last presentation, it was recommended that maybe we could house like I forgot what they called it, like a Zoom time, a specific Zoom time at the beginning of the semester, to have students be able to have like an open Zoom hour to come in, or faculty, if they have any specific questions about Bronco Serve, about their internship course or service learning course that they're not sure, that they can come in and we'll have one of us on the team, probably me, be on there and answering any questions at that time. So it'll be like an open hour for them to just come in, and no appointment needed. They would just kind of, we provide that link on our website, and then they can just kind of go to it and ask us questions in real time. So that should hopefully help, again, students and faculty, if there's any question that needs to be answered.
Thank you, Marissa. And so again, one of the biggest one of the first steps, of course, was we want our students to plan and prepare for their placement site. So if they need to seek out an opportunity, they need to be sort of mindful and thinking about how they can approach it. In the meantime, we also suggest that they go through and complete the COVID trainings. And so they can complete all those COVID training and campus protocols now. They just are unable to upload them to the system until the system connects and converts with PeopleSoft. And then shortly, again, within 2 weeks, we'll have the revised request to initiate a partnership form available for our students to connect with their partners, their internship sites, and go ahead and complete that last step. And then it'll be available in the system when the term starts as well. And then I'm looking here at John's question. Does every student have to upload the community partner COVID protocols and workplace safety guidelines, or can the community partner do it once for the entire class? In John's case, he has one community partner that all students in the class are supposed to work with. And the best answer I can give you is yes. We recognize that there isn't a one-size-fits-all solution to how we engage with our partners off campus. And so we provided a few different options. What may work best for service learning in particular and other forms of community engaged learning is that if faculty have one partner or a few partners that the students are connected with, then it would benefit the course and make it easier if the faculty member uploaded the site's protocols and safety workplace guidelines into the BroncoServe course. And then that way the students do not need to do it. And so again, for most of our partners, depending on the county they're in, they will be working under the guidelines of their county's public health department. That has been what is required for most places returning to in-person opportunity and in-person engagement. So that ought to cover most of our partners. But then again, we are available to work with you all in any particular case in order to help assist in this path. But as long as they're open, they would have had to do this. And so they're just sharing this information with us. So that way we can have it in our system as a backup in the event that something happens.
Yeah, it's just the faculty would have to upload it in behalf of the community partner. Since the community partner does not have access to BroncoServe, that was the example where you would just go under your BroncoServe, go to your managed course, and then there's an upload section on that semester. So you couldn't do it now, but as it gets closer, you could then upload it, and that's the umbrella for that course. And then for those placements that you're not working with a particular site, it's just general students are looking for their own placements. That's when we ask for students to upload in behalf of the community partner because they're at different sites.
So Bryant again and Marissa, sorry if I missed this. In the past, we had the 3 forms for the students to sign, and of course the 2 links that the company has to fill information. Now with the new protocols, how many forms the students have to complete now?
If they're doing in-person placement, so not all students would do this process, but if they're doing in-person placements for summer or fall, it would be 5 COVID trainings that is required. And then the 3 for internships, there's 3 forms in BroncoServe. And then if it's a new campus partner, it's those 2 campus partner forms that the campus partner completes.
And those 5 COVID training forms, are they on BroncoServe or are they on the website?
No, they're on, they're linked. So on that checklist that I showed earlier, okay. They're separate links. Fortunately, whoever set those up didn't actually set them up on one website. So we've linked them to, they're not actually on our website. They're kind of across CPP's websites. And so we've linked them on that checklist for the students to help them navigate where to go.
Which they can start if they want to complete those trainings now because they're available.
Yeah.
No, okay.
And then we also do have them in the learning plan as well. So they can again start them now, connected from those workflow guides.
And Brian, you also said, sorry, I'm asking so many questions, but
no, it's fine. Please
organize myself. The 2 company placement forms that can be, the links can be sent to them even now before we start the course is available on BroncoServe, right? In
theory. So those are the forms that those links and those, they're not active as of yet. So that's the change we're anticipating. Oh. And that's the part that we expect will happen within 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And so, yeah, the challenge again is sort of the beauty and the curse of the CSU is that with all of the universities, there are some best practices And so they're incorporating a number of the best practices. So we're waiting for some of the changes and modifications that happened at Channel Islands, some of the modifications that happened at Humboldt, and they're putting them all together into one form for all of us to be able to use. I also forgot Sacramento State. And so we'll all have those available for us to use that include all these best practices.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And do we have any examples of learning plans that we can provide? Even a checklist would be helpful. And so I would say for this, quite honestly, I think that it would be valuable, and we can add this with Lydia's permission. We can add some sample syllabuses, or syllabi, better yet, that we can put on our service learning website so folks can see how the learning plan could be included in your syllabus, as well as some of the other strategic initiatives that we have for the CCE. A lot of you all know that we have really sort of focused and emphasized ways that students can connect with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals as a way in which to focus their service learning engagement and connect it all through how they can make an impact through your courses connected to sustainability. And so there are some good examples of that, and we can highlight those on our website for folks who are looking for just to see. I think that's always a challenge, is you don't really see anybody else's stuff. You know, I always tell students that you never really see anybody else's resume, so it's hard to know what you should put in yours. And so the same can be said that way. So we will highlight and provide those things and make them available.
Yeah, I think we can ask some of our service learning or engaged faculty from different colleges. So there's different, a variety of examples of the learning plan. And we could have one document that just has examples of the learning plans. And yeah, that makes it really easy for the students also to complete the required forms, where I just tell them, take this exactly like verbatim and drop it into the form where the learning plan is required.
Yeah, thank you, Lydia. I think that would be really helpful. That's a good idea. So is there any other questions? I did put on our contact information in case there is no other questions. We have our general CCE email that goes to everyone, and then specifically my email as well as Bryant's and our website.
I have a quick question. I know this may not be applicable for many others, but as some of you may know that for summer, the internship classes have been asked to offer as non-service learning unit classes. So this was done last year. Provost wanted the departments to run the internship class not as a service class. I mean, the classification of service, I think, because it's more expensive. Because the unit will be student based, number of students based. So let's say it's a 0.25 per student. So if you have 30 students, you can imagine the amount of WTUs that you have to pay. So, but one of the challenges I had for my summer is that if you put a different number, like a test number, like 4990 for the class, the students will not recognize that as an internship. So some students might ask me and add to that class to do the internship, but some students might say, oh, they are not offering internship, so I'm not going to do internship in summer. Mm-hmm. So I offered the class as a 4420, which is our internship number, class number. And eventually I will have to change it to a 4990 if I have to follow the university guidelines to make it a not expensive class. So I don't know whether other departments, other chairs are here who can, maybe John can comment on that, but if there's any other chairs who can comment on that. If I do that, if I change the number to a different number, then it might not show up on BroncoServe, right, Brian?
No, you're correct. We do recognize that was a budget decision at the end of the last academic year as a way to not impact campus departments in the sense that you weren't able to offer in-person placement. And so we'll work with our folks in academic scheduling and the folks in PeopleSoft to identify the best approach. You're correct. If it's not tagged that way, it may not show up in BroncoServe. And so you're not the only you're not the only department chair with that same challenge. And so we'll work to figure that out and alert you as to what the outcome will be.
Brian, should I then contact the academic planning and tell them that this should be should show up on BroncoServe? I mean,
it would be stronger coming from you, absolutely. Especially as for you, it's a requirement for your students, correct?
Yeah, it is a mandatory requirement. Yeah.
Yes.
There are a lot of students who are graduating in summer who are taking the internship in summer.
That would be wonderful.
So, okay, thank you.
Well, thank you again for your time. If there are no further questions, we will again thank you all for your time and I wish you all a wonderful weekend. We are available via email. Again, we will send this information out via recording, as well as send you all a copy of the slides and send you links and connections to the materials that we're addressing this presentation. Again, thank you. We look forward to being able to have our students go out there and continue to learn by doing good. Have a great day. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Bye. Thank you again.
Thank you.